how Jim Carrey was talking about how he visualized and he did everything with intention, and he just did not allow anything else to get in his way when he was setting his goals. And we know he's ridiculously successful, but it didn't start off that way. And the cool thing I love about Jim Carrey is he talks openly now about a lot of the struggles that he's had. Like he does suffer from bipolar depression, and he has some other things like that he's overcome, but he was very quiet about those in the beginning. And he learned early on about the power of having control over your thoughts. And as it's the last day of the month, and as it's the first quarter of the year is closing and we're getting into the second quarter, a lot of people might be thinking, yes, I did really well, and I'm just going to kind of back off. Or they're thinking, it didn't go as planned, I can't do this, or whatever. But Jim Carrey was talking about how you have to see it as like you visualize your island or whatever, where you want to be in the future. And the course of how to get there is going to be like waves, right? Waves as you're going across, or you're kayaking or whatever. And if you've ever been out in the ocean, you know how that is, where sometimes you feel like you have to paddle, and then sometimes you just get to ride the waves, and it just brings you in. And either way, though, even if the waves are pushing you in the wrong direction and you have to paddle to get back, you got to redirect yourself back on track. And you can't coast for too long, because you know that you're going to get pushed off course at some point. The other thing that I listened to this morning is it talks about how, when astronauts go out into space, they're only on course for like 1% of the time. That's amazing, but they still reach their landing. So even if you're not feeling like this is going the way you want it to, visualize where you want to go, set your goals, and be flexible with your methods of how you're going to get there. But don't change your goals just because they get hard, right? And that's one of the things that I love about Chelsea. It's a perfect segue into bringing her on, and she's going to talk to us tonight about the mistakes that coaches make. And Chelsea got started with me after she saw me posting pictures online, and she was pretty pissed off that I was in Hawaii and tan. It's easy to be a beach body coach and get started in Hawaii when that's your backdrop and you're always like out active, you know. No, I'm just kidding. But I remember her and I messaging back and forth. And then when she jumped in, though, she jumped all in. Like she didn't even want to start with a different program. It was insanity all the way. And I was, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 100%. And, you know, in that challenge group, I had several of the people in there sign up as coaches, but Chelsea's business is taken off in comparison to some of the others. And that's not wrong or right. Her goals were just different. But the way she attacked that challenge is how she's attacked her business and everything she does in life. I would give them challenges like, okay, it's makeover day, and just give them random stuff to do to their fridge. Like, you need to go and chop all your vegetables and put them in baggies and then write the calorie count on it. And Chelsea would post her picture at the end of the day, done, that sucked, but I'm done. And she just did everything I asked. So then when it was time to sign up to coach and to move into that, I can let her tell you her story with that. But once she made the decision to go all in, she just never looked back. And even when it was the final hour on a lot of different things, she would find a way, whether it was encouraging her team or recruiting a new coach or finding that last Success Club point with another 10 follow-up messages or posting something online to gain interest. Chelsea is an overcomer, and she's one that always is flexible with her methods. She's very creative, but her goals just don't change. And she's a Success Club legend. She's a 5-star elite coach from last year, and she is in 2013, she was a premier coach, and there were only 37 premier coaches in 2013. And we have one on our team. How amazing is that? Chelsea also is a mom of 2, and she lives in Utah. We grew up together in Idaho, and we were cheerleaders, but we reconnected on Facebook. And so you just never know where this journey is going to take you. But I'm going to go ahead and mute, and Chelsea, you can unmute and let's go through all the mistakes.
Yay! Thanks, Emma. I just feel like this is kind of home, and so I feel like everyone knows each other, so I don't really feel like I need to introduce, but thank you for introducing me. That was nice of you. So I was thinking back to all the mistakes I've made and mistakes I still make, doing a little research and finding out what other coaches are struggling with, and I've done a lot of great things, and I've also done a lot of wrong things, and I still do a lot of wrong things. But just like Emma was saying, one thing I've never done is given up and accepted that I did something wrong. I just said, okay, that was the wrong thing to do, but now I've got to figure out what to do to make it right. And so the biggest, when Emma was saying the jazz game when we first got on, that was the last day of qualifying for Premier, which was like a huge deal. And so I don't know why in my head I thought it was a good idea to go to a jazz game anyway, on the day before Premier qualification. But so I was sitting there and this thing dropped, like just things happen that are unexpected. So somebody canceled an order, and so I'm freaking out. It's like 7:30. We have till 10 to get it done. And so I drug my whole family out of the jazz game, and then I had to like pay them back big time next time. So anyway, but I'm going to share my screen. I just have a few slides to walk us through this. So you guys, they're just bullet points. And I'm sure Emma's recording it, so the rest of it, you're recording. Okay. But this will just help guide us along. Feel free to ask questions if you're not following me. You can interrupt me, and we can also talk about it after. So I'm just going to share my screen. And make it bigger. Okay. Can you see it, Emma? You can see my screen?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Perfect. So let's get started. So I just was thinking about things that get us stuck in traps as coaches. My team hears me say this all the time. You have to be consistent. Inconsistency will be your downfall as Beachbody coach. If you don't want to succeed, go all in 1 month and then have a bad month and just drop off the face of the earth for 2 or 3 months, and then start working out again and say, oh, I'm going to do this, and jump back in again, and then jump back out and be really hot and cold with coaching. And I can guarantee you, you will be so frustrated. And the funny thing about it is the month that you are really consistent, you won't see much movement. But then 2 or 3 months down the road, when you're doing nothing, you'll hit Success Club and you're like, oh, I can just do this by doing nothing. But it's because of the month that you were doing things that you're being successful, because it pays off as you fill up your pipeline. So the trick to this business is you can't get frustrated on the months that you're working really hard and nothing seems to be clicking, because you have to ask yourself, what was I doing 2 to 3 months ago? Was I working the businesses hard? Was I doing the vital behaviors? Was I posting consistently? Was I working out and drinking Shakeology and living the lifestyle? And if the answer is no, then you have the answer to why you're struggling. Because just because you're consistent 1 month doesn't mean it's all going to fall into place magically. You have to be consistent every month to be successful. People want to trust you, and they can't trust you to help them if they don't see what you're doing. And so people are registering in their subconscious, just like I did with Emma. I followed her for 9 months. And the first month I saw her post, I was like, are you flipping kidding me? She's like rocking her 6-pack after 4 kids. And I was like the worst shape of my life with my 2 kids. And I'm like, what is she? And she's in Hawaii on the beaches. And so I was irritated, and I was like going to block her. And, but she was consistent. And so she consistently posted these pictures that made me mad at first. And then I went from being mad to being curious. And then I went from being curious to being inspired. And then I went from being inspired to being motivated to take action on my own. And if she would have only posted 1 picture, then I just would have been irritated. I would have thought she was annoying for posting a bikini picture. And so it was because of her consistency that I grew to trust her. And so you have to be consistent. Even if you feel like you worked 40 hours and got nothing, I promise you, if you're consistent for 2 to 3 months and you continue that consistency, it's going to become a machine, and it's going to start to pay off. But you can't give up, because right when you are about to give up is when the magic usually starts happening. So stay consistent.
Kelsey, Carrie
Yes.
Cindy tagged me and Amy in a post this week that said the same thing. She's like, at first I was really annoyed. And then I was like, what are they doing? And then I was like, okay, show me how to do this. And now I'm kicking butt, basically. She didn't say that, but that's how it goes. Is so people are watching you and you don't know they're watching and you feel like, I'm posting this stuff and no one's reaching out to me. But if you're consistent and keep that line as level as you can, you stay on track, then it will pay off. And people want to know that you're not going to just, become a Beachbody coach for 2 months and then quit. And then you're going to sign up to sell something else for 2 months and then quit. And then you're going to sign up and sell something else for 2 months and then quit. Right? They want to know you're in this to win it. So Carrie posted the same thing. So there must be common traits here. Everybody hates me when I'm posting and then blame me.
No, it's true. I've heard the same thing from coaches. Like I've had coaches that are on my team. Bryn it's like, I blocked you. I was annoyed with you. And then I unblocked you. And now I'm so glad that you put yourself out there. I mean, I feel like I'm doing my job if someone's annoyed by me, because that just means I'm touching on some emotion at some level. And if you're touching on an emotion at some level, whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, motivation, enthusiasm, they're logging that in their subconscious and it's affecting them in some way. So that means you're doing your job. You don't want to be all vanilla and mundane and not affecting anybody in any way, because then you're not touching on emotions, and this is an emotional business. That's why they trust you, because you're emotionally tied together somehow. So this is a lifestyle. Like this is a trend. All of these steps are going to be a lifestyle. Consistency is a lifestyle. Just like we say Beachbody is a lifestyle, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. It's not a 30-day quick fix. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Just like I don't love those wraps that they advertise all the time, because they're not going to permanently fix you. Consistency is going to permanently fix you in this business. And so just be consistent. Number 2 is be unsure of your personal why. Don't know why you're doing this. That's a sure way for you to fail. If you don't have the why that's going to make you cry and you know how to communicate that to other people, you're not going to be successful in this business. If someone asks you your story and you're like, I just got turbo fire because I wanted to work out, and you feel really awkward and you're not confident in your story, they're not going to trust you. And so you need to think about when people ask you, just like people ask you about your kids or ask you about your other passions. If your passion's hiking and you love sharing, you need to love sharing about Beachbody too. And you need to know what you're going to say when people ask you. You need to be able to answer with confidence. You need to say, I'm a Beachbody coach because I did insanity and I was at the lowest point in my life. I was feeling really unhealthy. I had 2 baby girls at home that I was setting a horrible example for. I was trying to work out and getting really frustrated because nothing was working. I didn't have the first clue about nutrition. All I knew was to make fish and how to grill chicken. And I was bored and I didn't know what to do. It was so scary for me to start. The scariest step for me was just making that commitment to doing insanity. But once I did insanity, in the first 30 days, I got better results than I had in 2 years at the gym. I knew that this was something I was never going to quit doing. And so it made sense for me to become a coach because I loved what it did for my life. I loved what it did for my husband. My husband got off high blood pressure medication. And I loved what it did for my little girls. They see their mom and dad working out every day, and they see us being healthy. And that's why I became a coach, because I loved what it did for my life. And if it can change my life that much in 60 days, I felt like I needed to become a coach so I could share that with others. And so when people ask me why I became a coach, that's what I say. You need to know your why, and you need to be unapologetic about it. If somebody doesn't get your why, that's fine. They're not going to want to join you anyway if they don't get you. So don't be nervous about sharing why you love this with people. Not being a product of the product. If you want to be an unsuccessful coach, don't drink Shakeology. Don't do your workouts consistently. Don't do personal development. And don't share it. Don't share it on social media, because to be successful in this business is so easy if you don't look at it from I have to sell things, but you look at it from I get to share things. I get to share what I love doing every day, and I would be doing it anyway. If you feel forced to work out, I mean, all of us, of course, have days where we're like, well, I don't want to do my workouts. But for the most part, you should love the programs because you have a testimony of them. So you need to walk the walk and not talk the talk. No one wants to hear you talk. They want to see you living the lifestyle. So take pictures of your workouts. Share the uncomfortable parts. If you guys follow me, I share a lot about my stretch marks and my tummy that's still saggy. Like I have the extra skin from having babies and it's uncomfortable sometimes, but I share those. Like certain poses when you do them after you have kids are not the most flattering. Like you have extra skin hanging down. And so I'll share that. And those are the posts that people are like, thank you, we all have it, but it's like no one wants to talk about it. And they love to see that. And they love to see real people being healthy. So you don't have to be perfect. You can share your struggles, but then you need to show them how you're living this lifestyle constantly every day. So sharing Shakeology, but not splashing a picture of Shakeology, just sharing that you're drinking it. And don't be nervous about sharing on social media. That's how people are going to connect to you. Don't be unsure of the programs. Like, don't be scared to tell people this is what you need and this is why. They're looking to you for answers, and if you waver and if you hesitate in telling them things, they will sense that and they won't trust you. So under being products of the product, you need to become an expert in what you know. If you haven't done Body Beast, it's okay. You don't have to know macros and micros. I don't know all that stuff, but I've had people do Body Beast, and I reach out to people on the team who do know, and they help, and that's the beauty of the team. So just because I say you need to share and be a product of the product does not mean you have to be a personal trainer, and it doesn't mean you have to know every answer. You just need to be an expert in your story and help them to understand why you love it, because that's why they're going to connect with you. And you can find the other answers, or you can reach out to people on the team to find the answers. That's what the team's here for. Okay, so number 4, don't treat your business like a business. We pay $15 to be a Beachbody coach, so it's real easy to think of it as a hobby, which is totally fine. I have lots of hobby coaches, and I'm not saying that that's not okay, by the way. But if you have other goals, then you need to treat this like a business. You need to treat it like it's your own franchise. And when I say that, you need to set your own business hours, because the quickest way to burn out in this business is to like sporadically do things, and you'll constantly hear dings on your computer, and you're constantly on your phone. You'll constantly be doing training calls, and you'll constantly be pulling your hair out because you'll feel like you are so spread thin and you're like mediocre in all areas of your life because you can't develop a healthy balance. And so you need to respect yourself and your family enough to treat it like a regular business. So you need to have set hours. You need to have days off. You need to keep in mind and set benchmarks for yourself, just like you would at your regular job. So if you're motivated by rank, or if you're motivated by money, or if you're just motivated by weight loss, you need to set benchmarks for yourself just like you would in a business, and then celebrate when you achieve them. It's okay to celebrate. So do that, and that will keep you motivated. But I challenge you, if you want to work this business, to treat it like you bought a franchise. So I honestly had looked into years ago doing like a Gymboree franchise for like 2 seconds, until I figured out it cost like $275,000 you had to have in like, I'm horrible at finances, but it had to be like, you could access that amount of money or whatever it's called. Anyway, and so that didn't work out, obviously. But the cool thing about this business is for $15, you can grow a 6-figure business if you believe you can, and if you treat it like you can. And so I challenge you guys to, in your head, think, this is my $100,000 business. This is mine. I'm responsible for it, and I can grow it to be that. Don't think about it as, oh, it's no big deal if I don't succeed because it's only $15 a month. You're putting your time and effort into it, and your time and effort's worth a lot. And if you can grow it, I guarantee if you put $100,000 into it, you'd be putting blood, sweat, and tears into it until you got that investment back. So if that's what motivates you and you need to think about it that way, do it that way. But whatever is going to motivate you to look at this and treat it like a real business and not like, oh, I pay $15 a month and this is my hobby, then your business is going to shift. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to stay a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it's going to become a business. So you need to ask yourself what you want. Don't be afraid of sharing. If you're afraid of sharing and afraid of offending and afraid of what someone's mom's going to think of you if you post this picture of yourself, you're not going to reach the people that you need to help. So I used to always do this. I would like make a post and I would like honestly get nauseous. Like I would get nauseous and I would be so nervous, and I still don't like posting pictures of myself like in a swimming suit. Like people probably think I'm totally fine with it because I do it, but it makes me nervous. And so, but you quickly find out what gets the best traction in this business. And if something makes you nervous or makes you feel a little queasy, those are the best posts. If you feel totally confident in it and it's not hard for you to put it out there, those aren't good because it's not affecting you emotionally, so it's not going to affect anybody else emotionally. So don't be afraid to offend people, because for everybody you offend, you're going to inspire the people that really need to hear it. And so for me, I have the mentality that and I don't go out trying to offend people, by the way. I just post what like is natural in my heart. But I say, if I lose 10, 15 people because of what I'm posting today, and if I feel like it's honestly me and it motivates me, if I reach the one person that really needs to hear it, then that's successful for me. I would rather lose 20 followers and reach the one that connects than to be so nervous and scared about offending someone that I don't ever reach anyone and don't ever inspire anyone. And so people, I loved this saying. It says, people don't pay your bills with their opinions. And that's true. You've got to not let other people's opinions affect your business. Because the people who care are going to love you regardless. And the people that you connect with are going to connect to you because of what you share. And so don't be afraid of sharing. And if it makes you nervous, I can promise you it's probably the best post. So, okay, number 6, be inconsistent in your inviting. You can be great at sharing. You could be the best sharer in the world, great at recipes, great at your workouts. But if you don't have the bridge that's going to then say, by the way, I can help you, then they're going to go buy off Amazon because they don't know you're even a coach. And this happens to new coaches all the time. I always have new coaches and they're like, I was posting about my workouts and how much I loved them. And then my best friend went and bought off Amazon because they didn't know they could buy it from me, because they're not comfortable bridging that gap and saying, hey, thank you so much for liking my post. And I know you said you wanted to look into the fitness program that I was doing. I have a challenge group on April 15th that I would love to talk to you more about. People have to know what you're doing, not just the lifestyle you're living, because you'll inspire them and then they'll go somewhere else and order it. So don't be afraid to extend invitations, and don't disqualify people because of what your preconceived notions are. I did this all the time. I would be like, oh my gosh, they're way too busy. I know they work 2 jobs, or I know they don't have any money, and I would feel really uncomfortable inviting my friend because I would feel like I was putting her in a weird situation because I know she lives paycheck to paycheck. Well, I lived paycheck to paycheck, and if Emma hadn't invited me, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Or maybe they go to the gym and they're like a huge gym rat, and you feel uncomfortable inviting them to do Beachbody. Don't disqualify them before you invite them. Let them make that decision, because you don't know what they're thinking. So always invite everyone and then let them make the decision on if it's right for them or not. Okay, goal setting. So don't make goals and then don't share them if you don't want to be successful. Because if you make goals and then they're like your closet goals and you don't tell anyone about them, those are not goals. I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't count as a goal unless you tell people about it. Because if you only write it for yourself, then it's no big deal if you fail at it, because nobody knows. So why does it matter? And also, if you want to make people mad, like your husband or your family, don't tell them your goals. And then just start working really hard and sacrificing all this time. And I can guarantee you, if your husband doesn't get what you're doing, he's going to get really mad, and it's going to be a really big deal. So you need to make them a part of your goals and a part of your dream. So make sure you guys sit down and talk about what your goals are, and you agree and establish some ground rules. And then also share it with your family. Like, I didn't share my goals. Carson and I have always worked really well together with this business, but I didn't really share it with my mom and my dad. And for the longest time, my dad was like, seriously, are you doing a pyramid scheme? Like, what is this? Is this your pyramid? Like, he would say stuff like that, like 2 years into it. And I'm like all mad about it, and I would get all bitter. And then I'm like, but I haven't really ever talked to him about it. Like, he doesn't really know what I'm doing. He just sees me posting workout stuff. And then he came to my house and saw my whiteboard with like my downline, and he's like, are you running a pyramid scheme? And I was like all offended, but I hadn't told him anything about it. So make sure you set goals, and then I put my goals up in my house in my kitchen, so people that come over see my goals, and they may think I'm weird, but I don't really care. My family knows my goals, and in the beginning when I told like my extended family and started sharing them, they were like, okay, that's nice. And like, you can always tell when they're like, okay, this is kind of odd. Or like Carson got it from the beginning, but it doesn't matter if they get it or if they don't. You just need to tell them about it, because then it's out there and you're much more likely to go through with them. Okay, if you want to be unsuccessful, don't do personal development, or do it really well for a couple weeks and then fall off for a month, and then get in this battle with yourself of, oh, I didn't finish this book, and and it's frustrating because you'll watch all the top coaches doing really well at personal development. And this is another one I have struggled with too, because I was never big in personal development before Beachbody. Carson was always big in it, and I thought he was weird. Like, he would show me his vision boards before Beachbody, and I'd be like, that's nice. It's nice that you want to own a Range Rover. Good luck with that, like, great. I'm glad you put it on a poster board and you have it in the bedroom. So personal development, everyone should always be a student. Just because you turn 18 or you graduate from college doesn't mean you have nothing left to learn. And so you need to keep learning to be better at this business, to be a better leader for your team, to be a better coach for your challengers, to be a better person, to be whatever you struggle with. If you're bad with finances, read. It doesn't have to be a fitness book. It can be financial. If you struggle with patience, if you struggle, whatever you struggle with, just read about it. And you will start to grow a little bit every day. It's the compound effect. 10 minutes a day is going to build up so much over time, and you won't realize the difference it's making the first month, but month after month after month, compounded on itself, you're going to realize a huge difference. So you need to be a student of life, and then you will keep growing with this business. This is a huge one for me. Number 9, Success Club. Don't value Success Club or make excuses as to why you shouldn't hit Success Club. Whatever the excuse is. I'm not motivated by a number. I didn't get into this business because I needed to hit the magical number 5. I got in this business to help people. That's fine. Success Club is just a measurement done by corporate because they had to have some way of measuring. But Success Club to me is the reason I got into this business. It's to help people. And so all the successful coaches are Success Club All-Stars and Legends, and that's because it's a consistency piece, which goes back to number 1 reason that people are unsuccessful, not being consistent. Success Club is just proof that you're being consistent in this business. That's all it is. And I don't care if you look at it as a number or if you'd rather say, I helped 3 people, or however you want to look at it. But it needs to be a non-negotiable for your business if you want to be successful in this business, because it's you understanding the value and what you can do by helping people. And it's the compound effect again. I can tell you, if I told you today, if you hit Success Club this month, you'll be an elite coach. If you hit Success Club this month, you will pay off the mortgage on your house. If you hit Success Club this month, you can go buy a car with cash. I guarantee everyone on this phone call would hit Success Club because they'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go buy my car this month with cash because I hit Success Club 5. What? You will be able to do all those things if you hit it every month consistently, month after month after month after month. So that's what Success Club is. It's not 5 points. It's the consistency piece of this business. And by hitting Success Club, you're going to be able to do all those things. Do you believe that? Because I do. I know. I've seen it happen to so many coaches, and it's happening to me personally too. So whatever you need to do and however you look at Success Club is fine, but ask yourself those questions. Would it be cool to pay off your mortgage? Would it be cool to buy a car with cash? Would it be cool to be an elite coach? Whatever is your motivation in this business, Success Club is going to get you there. Okay, this is another big one. Focusing more on maintaining rank than continuous recruitment. This is so many coaches' downfall. I don't know what it is about diamond, but as soon as coaches hit diamond, they switch. Doug Moss said this, and I love how he says it. They switch from playing offense to playing defense, and they lose their momentum. I challenge you guys to value all the hard work you put into your rank, whether it's emerald, ruby, diamond, star, diamond, and protect it. Don't switch to defense. Keep playing offense and recruiting and continually growing. But you need to have a value. Like, don't just be okay if you lose rank. Just don't be like, oh, no big deal. I'll just figure it out and, work on getting it back. You fight for that. You fought hard to get there. If you can get there, then you need to fight hard to maintain that rank and keep going with the business. And if you do lose it, don't let it crush you. Keep going in the right direction. Don't keep playing defense. Don't switch to defense and start saying, oh my gosh, I'm always going to lose rank, and I need to do this with Sally, and I need to do this with Dan, and stop recruiting. Remember why you got into this business and why you love it, and keep doing what you were doing that got you to that point in the first place. Number 11, don't brand yourself. Be so vanilla that no one knows what you're about. And we've talked about this a lot, but I wanted to give it its own one because you need to know what you're about first, and that's hard to do. If you have gone through training, we talk about branding yourself. And if you haven't, we will talk about it. But you need to stay true to your brand. So it's easy to get really rushed and get off track and be like, oh, this sounds good, and plug it in. People need to know what you're about, because then they'll keep following you and they'll know that's what you're about, and they'll trust you and they'll want to follow you and they'll want to go to your page because they know you're going to give them something they need. And so you have to stay true to that. And that's a big responsibility, because if you have a bad day and you're like, everything's horrible, and and you totally contradict yourself, you'll get called out. And because people expect things from you. But I want to be called out if I'm not staying true to what my followers follow me for. So you need to brand yourself, and don't brand yourself with Beachbody. You don't need to splash P90X up on your page and Shakeology, the stock photos of Shakeology and, the sales, and don't be salesy. You're not Beachbody. You're you, and you use Beachbody as a tool to help people. But you're your brand, not Beachbody. Every once in a while, I'll put up things, if there's a sale or whatever, but it's very rare. So the whole premise is you don't want to sell, you want to share, and you want to be you. You're unique. There's something about you that no one else has. And that's why people follow you. So you need to think about what defines you and what makes you different and post on that. And that's why this business is fun, because why wouldn't it be fun to just share what you're all about? It's not fun if you feel forced and you're posting up pictures of Tony Horton and, saying do P90X, because I don't know about you, but I don't really connect with that. And so you need to be uniquely you and don't apologize for it. Number 12, overanalyze everything you do. Sit at your computer and think about how many things you have to do today, how many posts you have to write today, what you're going to say to your challenge groups. Double guess yourself on all your posts. Double guess yourself on all your messages. You don't have to. And this is a huge one for me, because I'm the type of person that honestly reads policies and procedures before I do anything. And so I always overanalyze everything, and you can't do that with this business. You just have to have fun with it a lot of times. It's not a specific science. It's not if you do X, Y, and Z, it's going to lead to, I'm bad at algebra, but X squared or whatever. And so just speak from your heart. You can do training all day long, but sometimes you just have to jump in with both feet and see what happens. So don't overanalyze this business. Keep it fun. Sometimes just try something out. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Just try something else. Okay. Totally compare yourself to others if you want to go crazy in this business. You should totally compare yourself to what Emma's doing, or Brigitte, or Scotty, or, you know, whatever. Because that is so huge. People will always say, how do you do this so well? Or how do you get so many people? Or, Emma just added 10 coaches and I can't even find one. You can't compare yourself to someone's middle or someone's end. Or even if you're starting at the same time, you can't compare yourself to them, because everybody has a different story and everybody's different. That's the whole premise. This whole call is about being uniquely you. And so you cannot compare yourself to people. And I want to challenge everyone on this team, because something that's my biggest pet peeve is I want to be everyone's biggest cheerleader. And I want to see Fierce Fit phenomenon blowing up people's stuff. So and I'm not saying this because I'm like hosting this call, but like when someone hosts a call, you should totally send them a message and tell them what a great job they're doing. So I expect to get like 40 messages when I get off this call from you. No, I'm joking, but I'm serious. Like, it means so much to get messages, and you want to be that coach. You want to be the coach. Like, I remember coaches from other teams that have like reached out and congratulated me on things, and I'm like, that's so cool, but I don't even know them, and they're saying that to me. And they're not comparing themselves to our accomplishments. They're just like really happy that Beachbody has helped other people. And so one thing I wanted to say on this call that I always say is I hope that this whole team celebrates others loudly and their accomplishments. And don't just like stuff. Like, comment on people's things. It means a lot to people when you comment, and message people, and just be that. If we all were just super encouraging to each other, do you know how many people we would lift up every day and how powerful our team would be, instead of just like, and some people are great at encouraging, but a lot of us and I do it a lot. I mean, we all have limited time, and there's only so much time in the day, and I know so much faster, but I honestly believe if we all become the type of person that celebrates everybody and is genuinely just happy, it's going to lead to your success too. I promise you, you will become more successful because of what you do for others in this business.
Amen. I know that everybody on this call just gave a whoop, because yeah, especially when somebody does a good post, whether it's related to exercise or not, like, make sure to encourage that, like, and lift them up, because the more you are lifting others, the more you show up for people, the more that people will show up for you. Does that make sense? And then your friends, even if they're not on our team, will see, wow, you are such an encouraging person. You're always that person that is, giving positive praise. And that's attractive, right? And it shows you're confident. Like, when you see a woman and instead of going, she looks so good in those jeans, I bet she starves herself, or whatever, like a negative with the compliment, like, actually give her the compliment. If you see her out and about, or you see her post a picture of her with her jeans on Facebook, and you're like, whoa, those are super cute, say it. And you'll feel so good for giving a genuine compliment instead of chasing it with like a negative or a jealousy thing. You'll stop being jealous because you're just looking for ways to praise,
Right. Yep. I know it's true. Like, when I'm out and about and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your hair so much, it just like makes someone's day. And it's like so simple to say it. So yeah, totally get it. And then lastly, and I'm going to touch on this real fast because Rachel did an amazing job last week, but I had to put it on here. Don't go to events if you don't want to be successful, because events are, if there is a golden bullet for being a successful coach, events are going to change your perspective on coaching. So the next event is Super Saturday on April 26th, and then Summit. And so please do your best to get to events. And my husband did these slides, and there's a mistake, so ignore that. Okay, so to wrap it up, I love this quote. The one thing that you have that no one else has is you. Your voice, your mind, your story, your vision. So write and draw and build and play and dance and live as only you can. So I just think this sums it up so well. So I don't have anything else. So thank you.
Chelsea, you did a great job. I was taking notes like a crazy person. I'm glad there's a playback on here. I think we should put this into a slide and have this be pinned to the top of Fierce Fit for April of the things that you should not do as a coach. And I think it just brought us all back to our core. We all want to help people in our own way and be genuine and authentic to ourselves. But at the same time, we want to be successful and feel like it's smart success and relaxed success and not stressed out, jealous, kind of crazy success. And so you mapped it out so well. Every time you talk, you add so much value to the team. And I remember there was a time when you were very nervous to do any kind of call or Zoom, Chelsea, and you've just really grown so much. And so coaches, if I was to add anything to that list, it would just be, don't be afraid to be a risk taker, because you just never know what you'll end up getting good at. And personal development is the way to learn how to work on something that could benefit your team or could benefit yourself. So does anyone have any questions from this superstar? Does anyone have any comments?
I have a comment. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Bria.
Okay, first I wanted to say at slide 7, I was going to make sure I was going to write you personally to say thank you for this. It was such a great call, Chelsea. And I just, honestly, it was easily one of the best calls I've ever been on. I just feel like I took so much away and it just got me really excited again about everything. So thank you. It was really well done.
Thanks, Bria. I appreciate it. I'm glad you got something out of it. Since you're like the rock star of the team, that means a lot.
I think that's one of those things that we do the comparison game, like, oh, she's better than me, or she's no, y'all are.
No, Bria's just a rock star. That's okay.
She is kind of a rock star. So are you. And anyone have a question? Comment? Looks like Emily Olson does.
I wrote it in the comments, but I didn't know if anybody saw it. So what are you reading right now, Chelsea?
I'm doing The Slight Edge, which, to be honest, I'm having a hard time getting through. I'm not going to lie. And I'm also reading The Power of Your Why by Simon Sinek, because he's speaking at Summit, so I wanted to read all his books. So that's on my list. And then next I want to read Leaders Eat Last by him as well.
All right. Well, those that are in. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Veronica.
Sorry, I had a question. How soon after you started did you add in your husband, and how did that really affect your business?
I added my husband in the same day I started coaching, because my husband is completely opposite of me. So he jumps in like both feet right away. So he was like, I'm doing it too. And so I jumped into the challenge with both feet, and I did it amazing. Like I followed it to the T. I didn't ever cheat. But coaching, I took slower because, like I said, I have to read policies and procedures. So I read policies and procedures for like 4 months. And Carson signed up, and he immediately started doing a challenge group before he'd ever even done a challenge group. So we did a lot of things wrong in the beginning. But it has dramatically affected my business financially now, because Carson is directly under me. So if I hadn't signed him up directly under me, when I did, we would be like financially, we would be losing out on hundreds of dollars a week, because he holds that place directly under me. From a rank standpoint, I love that he's a diamond under me, because we have control of that more. His rank, and so I love it for that aspect as well. And I also love that from the beginning, Carson and I really worked as a team, and I think that's really a key thing, because I think if I would have started without him and started growing it, I think sometimes that's harder for husbands or spouses to get involved, because they don't see it from the beginning, and then they're like, why is this taking up so much time? But if you start it from the beginning and really grow together, and they understand what it's all about, and you take them to Super Saturdays, and they get to see the culture instead of just hearing it from you, and then they just see you sacrificing all this time, then they feel like they have a little bit more in the game, and that you can grow this together as a family business versus just Veronica's doing this thing and I've got to make the kids dinner because she's on a call. So I think from all aspects, it's been great for us.
Sorry, just to follow up. Do you think that you've taken totally different approaches to the marketing, to the business aspect, since he's a man and you're a woman? or have you just kind of done your own thing? What do you think?
So we started out working our businesses separately. So he literally would run his and I would run mine, but we always run challenges together. So that was nice because it was at the beginning, I didn't recruit just women because I had my husband. So it was like men and women. And I know some coaches would reach out to me and they would say, oh, what do you do when a guy wants to be in your challenge? And that was never an issue for us because we presented it as a couple thing. But now Carson's actually does more of he kind of has taken a back seat. And so I run the business and he does more of the technical stuff. And so I work with other guys. So I think it was easier to get a broader audience with my husband because he attracted the guys and I attracted the girls. And then also when he was posting to guys, they would reach out and be like, oh, my wife needs this. And so it was nice to have both sides of that. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And it depends on everybody's spouse's interest levels and outside responsibilities and jobs that they have. Some husbands really aren't interested at all, except they would go to Super Saturday and maybe listen to the National Wake Up Call, and that's it. That's all they wanted. And so I think it's just a matter of reaching out to your spouse and see what they want, share your goals with them, and then play on their strengths and talents to see what they want to do this with you, if that makes sense. In the beginning, Will wanted nothing to do with it, and now we're buddies in the business, and so it makes sense. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Allison asked a question real fast.
Sure.
Just real fast. My brand it changes because I started